Alright, let's talk about the ban list discussion, boys. With some Sonic Adventure 2 music in the background. But anyways, guys, welcome indeed to the live ban list discussion. Now that we've got all the cards here, let's go ahead and talk about some stuff that some people want, a multiple, but I'm really here to just kind of give, open suggestions. So feel free to go ahead and comment down below. But obviously, if you're watching this live, you guys go ahead and comment. So the first thing that I really think that would be cool for the TCG, we're talking about the 2018 ban list predictions, as well as just like talking about like what a lot of players would like to have in the game. And I think that the first card that's it's on every ban list. Like everyone wants Stratos at multiple. I mean, in the OCG right now, you got 2 Stratos. We can't even have 1. I feel like if they were like, if they really wanted to surprise the TCG and they just give us two Stratos just like they have, or even go a step further and be like, yo, we're gonna put in triple Elemental Hero Stratoses. That would be really cool. Like if they put Stratos at 3, people would flip out, and it would kind of be a wild card. But even at 2, even at 1, people would freak out. But honestly, would it do anything in the game? I really don't think so. But it's just kind of one of those cards. Next up, Grinder Golem. I see this in like every single deck. I'm really kind of tired of the card, to be honest. OCG is hitting it in 2018. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it being hit. I mean, it really comes down to Skull Deep being a really good card, but Grinder Golem, it's so free. It's so free. Someone just mentioned that they only have 1 Shadow Mist. It honestly would having triple Shadow Mist, triple Stratos, do you guys really think that that would make the game completely unstable? I'm aware that Stratos opens up a 1 card, Hollis, Hawkerthy, a win condition, but at the same time, dude, how realistic is that going to be? It's just kind of cool to see those crazy combos. But I'm over Grinder Golem, and like I said, Stratos is a fan favorite card. Next up, Spiral Resort. I think people are pretty much done with this card. OCG is, they're done with Spirals too. They're like, dude, we've had enough Spirals. It was basically like 99% like win rate Spirals only. So I think Spirals is definitely a deck that will be hit. Whatever they hit, I think Resort is kind of like, it's kind of unfair. It's like, dude, you can't target other Spiral cards, so like, good luck. I'm gonna continue to go off, and then on top of that, it searches out a card. I don't know. It's kind of just the problem of majority of stuff, as well as just field spells in general. In the OCG, they put Terraforming at 1, and I mean, there's a reason why you put cards at, 1, 2, and 3, but Terraform is like around 6 copies of field spells, right? That's the way I see it, but it's always kind of been just kind of like a filler card. In the TCG, there's a lot of times where we just take out filler cards, like we just take out things that are considered like staples that every deck runs. Terraforming can definitely be like kind of one of those like filler cards. Next up, I want to talk about the Necros. So in the TCG, we have Shrip Band, and these both are at 1. I'm thinking like if they put this to 1 or 2, and then they bump up Brio as well as Unicorn, maybe people will actually try running them. However, I feel like the people that wanted Unicorn at multiple, it does have that effect where it negates the face-up effects of monsters that were special from the extract. So technically that can actually have pendulums that were brought out, as well as it definitely hurts Link decks just in general. So I feel like they probably wouldn't do Unicorn, because Unicorn is what like destroys the new stuff, and obviously the new stuff as far as like business purposes, and also for content creators, it's not ideal, because in a sense the new stuff is going to be what people search for, and it's just more popular. And if you're creating like even like the creators of like the new like Link stuff, obviously they want people to use it, not even just for monetary, but it's like, why would you create new cards if people aren't going to be playing them? But I still think that Unicorn is a really powerful card, but if anything, Brio and Shred could be, a multiple. I don't know. It would just be kind of cool just to see that deck just kind of come back, because I mean, this card used to be like what, almost $200. Now it's what, $1? But next up, we got Scout. I mean, personally, I wasn't a fan of this idea, but they did release more stuff for them, and sometimes when they release more stuff, they want to like kind of promote it. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. I think it's okay. When you have a lot of cards that search out this card anyways. But next up, Gateway. It's at 3 in the OC. We have it at 1, and so I think that's a pretty big deal. That this card is so powerful. I will admit, I am 100% biased towards Gateway of the 6. You guys that are in the stream, is anyone biased towards this card? Like, I don't like this card. I mean, if I'm playing 6 Samurai, oh, dude, I love this card. But it just feels like a very unfair card for just dealing with it. It's frustrating, man. It's not fair. Gateway is not fair. At all, in my personal opinion. But I know at 3, there was one deck that did something in OCG, but it was like one of those, it was like a one-time thing. However, if it goes to 3, maybe it could become a problem in the TCG. I know that people would freak out, but at the end of the day, is it really as good as, you know, like Grand Dragon? I think it's not on the same level, but again, at the same time, at 3 he's not doing anything. It just worries me. But anyways, next up, cards that should have been at like multiple a long time ago. I kind of want to group these together over here. These have been a long time coming. Okay, these are multiple in OCG. Nothing is happening at Card Troopers in the same genre here. When we go to the OCG, these are like 1s and 2s. Like, is Bottomless really that big of a threat? Is it really that big of a threat? Like, same thing with Granmal. This bounces back 1 card. Like, if there's like a problematic thing, most people run Kaijus anyways. First off, this ruins your normal summon. Second off, it has to go to the battle phase, then it has to declare an attack. Like, you're talking about multiple conjunctional things, whereas, again, if you need to get rid of 1 card, a Kaiju does the job 1,000 times better, and obviously Kaijus, you can play multiple. And again, you don't waste your normal summon. Why is my boy locked up to 1? He's not that good. Next up, Torrential Tribute. I always thought this was a pretty decent card. I still think it's like an okay viable card. Anyways, Torrential Tribute, I think it's a good card. It's at 3 in the OCG. No one's playing these cards, like I said. Compulse, there was a deck that did play it, but that was one deck. Compulse, I think it should go to 3. I mean, it hits 1 card. It's like Granmal. It's like it's a trap. It's way too slow. And on top of that, it gets 1, and it also has a target. Next up, though, Card Trooper. Again, this is just another card. Like, no one's really playing Book of Moon. Book of Moon absolutely destroys Link monsters, right? Because Link monsters can totally be face down. I don't know. Torrential at 3 seems OP. Why would it be OP at 3? No one's even playing it at 1. Like, why would it be? Yeah, dude, Storm Strike Warning, way better. Again, we're talking about a card that is Spell Speed 2. We're talking about a card that has to be spec. There's a reason why no one's playing, like, the card. 6th Sense, no, you're crazy. Alright, anyways, next up, Trickstar Reincarnation. This has been a really annoying card. Oh, oops, we can go to the TCG here. So TCG is at triple, we have 1 in the OCG. I mean, some people are saying it's a really annoying deck. I understand your frustrations with this deck because sometimes it beats you and you legit don't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've never been a fan of these decks to play against, but like sometimes people like these decks, and it's kind of the only cheesy deck that we have at the moment. I mean, back in the past we had cheesy decks, yeah, I've never been a fan of running into this deck. Like, I see it all the time. Trickster is a very popular deck, so I don't know if they'll actually like destroy the deck, but they're coming out with a bunch of new cards that support like a longer playstyle, so I don't know. But anyways, next up, Solemn Judgment. We could talk about that. We'll get to that. But next up, Atlantean Dragoons. I mean, Mermails aren't the most popular thing right now. It'd be kind of cool to see Dragoons, or even like they put a Deep Sea Diva. I don't know. Just other things to support water would be kind of cool. Although water has done some stuff. It's not like a complete dead deck. Like I still think water is slightly viable. And what I mean by slightly viable, it's not tier 1, but if you hit everything, it could definitely be a deck. Next up, Grass. I feel like this card, it's viable at 2 or 3, but at 1, very few people want to play this. I know it did. There was, oh gosh, it was someone in EU that played this. I mean, the card is good, but at 1, very few people want to play the card. At 2 and 3, people will be interested in maybe checking it out again. But next up, Level Eater. I really haven't seen this card be that much of a problem, but I'll mention it. This is indeed live, but so feel free to comment. Life Equalizer banned in OCG. Will it say untouched? Life Equalizer. I was unaware of this. Let me look at this. Life Equalizer. I was unaware that it was banned in the OCG. You see, there's some like oddballs here. This is kind of oddball in this. But since it's live, let's check it out. So we activate this card when the difference between the both players' life points is 8,000 or more. Both players' life points become 3,000. So this is basically using a cheese. Same thing with like self-destruct button. It's one of those cheese things. And what's interesting is we have this at 3 and then they have this banned. But in the OCG we have it flip-flop. They have this at 3 and then we have this. Like, I wish this game would just be consistent here. That's the way I see it. interesting. I didn't even know about that. Next up, Inzectors, dude. They're a triple OCG. We just got a new Inzector Link monster, but no one's going to be really using it for Inzectors. I just think Inzectors are gone. Like, completely gone. If you put them at 3, are they even that great? That's the way I see it. Next up, Pendulum Magician. I mean, people were saying Astrograph. I mean, you could hit a lot of different things in the deck. Some people were saying Skullcrobat Joker. You guys can tell me what you guys feel about that deck, because if everything else gets hit, that will definitely be a dominant deck, and we have to hit something with it, unless, of course, we want that to be, again, the next dominant deck. But obviously, we need to support the new stuff, so we'll have to wait and see what they decide to hit with Pendulum Magicians. But that deck is pretty fast and has a lot of searching, man. A lot of searching, so I mean, you can cut down a lot of different things, but this is technically a card as well. But anyways, next up, Thunder King. Why is that too? Who even playing it? Next up, someone wanted me to mention Ash Blossom. I think hand traps are good for the game. Like, you know, obviously, like, Valor is, like, kind of irrelevant at this point. Maxi or Ash Blossom, those are very popular cards. But the thing is that, like, they kind of neutralize the game. Maxi can give you a huge run, but I'm talking about, like, Valor, Ghost Ogre, and Ash Blossom are all, like, 1-for-1s in a sense. In a sense. What I mean by that is, sometimes cards you have to use multiple cards to get the effect of 1, and if you negate that 1, then they just kind of give up. But the thing is that it punishes, like, a deck sometimes where, like, the person made a play and you have to respond, and then you Ash Blossom and you can't do anything. So that's kind of the problem with that. So if you guys want Ash Blossom completely gone, I mean, it's kind of a fair card. It's supposed to be. I mean, but at the end of the day, again, that again is the problem when your opponent makes a board and then they follow up with the Ash Blossom and you have to respond really quick. But anyways, next up, Masterpiece, the True Draco Sling. I just don't like this card. Like, OCG killed it off a while ago. And I think this card, I don't like dealing with this. And I think a lot of players agree. This card is just, it's annoying to deal with. Again, if you hit everything, then this might see some play. But anyways, next up, Pantheism. Some Monarch support would be kind of cool if they came out with some new Monarchs. Then they buffed this up and they announced new Monarch support. I can see it happening. Next up, Dandelion. It's just kind of a card that's been at 1 for like the longest time in the TCG. Would be cool to see it come back to 2 just to see what people try. Next up, Chicken Game. It's a card that's at 3 in the OCG. No one's playing. It's only really utilized in cheesy decks in the first place, but there's Contract with the Dawn 1000, which is pretty much the same card, let's be honest here. But I don't know, you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Like I said, it's really only used in cheesy things, but I feel like cheesy decks don't work because, like, Ash Blossom is so relevant, and if you just stop, like, a lot of cheesy decks, you stop one play, and then they're just like, okay, I lose. Next up, Dark on Dragon. It'd be kind of cool to see 2 dads, you know, support that Kappa Pride. Can we get some Kappa Pride in chat for 2 dads? I would like to see some Dark Arm Dragon plays, just because Dark Arm was a card that was really powerful. Like, when people were like, dude, Dark Arm's on the field, I lose. Like, that was quite relevant back in the day. When they throw down Dark Arm Dragon, it's an iconic card, but it's just irrelevant, dude. It's completely irrelevant. There's the Kappa Prides. But I just feel like Dark Arm's irrelevant. Anyways, Scapegoat apparently was a problem. They put it at 2 in the OCG. Any deck can run it. It makes things. It's basically because there's links. But I don't know. I haven't really seen it become that much of a problem. But anyways, next up, Shoreline Battle. Dude, I don't know how. See, this card, it reminds me kind of of Edge Time Night, but Edge Time Night is a little bit more fair because they gotta summon it and then they gotta go for the effect. But this card is just like, oh, I activated it. I think it's kind of prank, right? But this card, like, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, when I'm using it, it's cool, but like when someone uses it against me and I've made a bunch of cards, I feel like when majority of players come into the board, they have responses. But there's not really like there's like Solemn Judgment is a response to this card, but sometimes you don't got that card ready to go. But I don't know. You guys can let me know how you feel about Struggling Battle. I mean, there's times where like it's a big prank, but there's other times where like it just doesn't get good value and it's a dead card. So. That's what I see. Yadagarasu, they mentioned there's a fake post, and it's not necessarily just fake, because sometimes, keep in mind, guys, that people talk about, you know, what's going to happen on the ban list. You know, I really feel like, okay, this is, okay, important thing for TCG. If you guys didn't know, there was an official post that said that the ban list is not something that they actually have a list and then they release it. Like, they don't, like, they're like, okay, we're gonna hit this card, we're gonna hit this card, and then, like, you know, a week later, like, okay, let's add this card to the list. They don't have it. The ban list is actually made at the last second, like, in the TCG. If someone has the post, link it in chat real quick. But basically, I want to say it was Julia, but someone correct me if I'm wrong on this. They said that the TCG ban list is actually made like on the spot. Like they don't save cards. Basically, they come together. I don't know what the exact time frame is, but like let's say like an hour or 2 hours, and then they just say, okay, we're making the ban list right now. Bam, go. But Yada Lock in 2017, do you really think that someone's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna get Yada Locked? Especially with the new errata where they have to have like 3 or 4 cards or something. Like, you have to I just think it's too conditional. Too many things can stop this card. It's really not that great. Anyways, upside to 3, I don't think it's going to happen, honestly. Anyways, next up, Morphing Jar. It's at 3 in the OCG. There's a loop with it. It's kind of hard. It's a cheesy thing. Trickstars are the best cheese deck right now, anyways, when you play it in that way. Next up, Card Destruction would kind of be a wild card. Same thing with like Super Poly. Why is Kaiser on this list? I don't know. Self-Destruct, we kind of talked about this, but these are all cards that are kind of, well, Kaiser I think should be there. Card Destruction and Super Poly are kind of wild cards in here. Like they'd be like, whoa, dude, I'm gonna play this deck now that we have access to this. I don't know, Dark Ones were pretty cool with this card. Next up, Ancient Fairy. It's because of field spells, but if we have Terraforming hit, I guess it kind of solves the problem, really. There is technically a lot of FTKs with Ancient Fairy, but that's the way I think of it. Solemn Judgment, like I mentioned before, Solemn is like, it's a good response to like spells and traps that is a spell and trap, because like Dark Bribe in 2017, like a Dark Bribe used to see some play. It was seeing some play in Gravekeepers. There was decks at the top with it, but like there's really no good spell and trap negate that's a spell and trap, if that makes sense. It's it's basically monster effects in this game. No, Lost Will, you crazy man. Anyways, Scoldy, a lot of people wanted this card gone or at 1. I mean, Scoldy is an insane card. Like, it just lets you just cycle through like that. There's so many decks that just Grinder Golem. It can be either one, honestly. Grinder Golem is what really makes this card easy to make. But like, dude, this card's insane. Next up, Contract at 1. It's been too long, man. I mean, give Shadal something. I mean, just put it at 1. Maybe Errata. I don't know. Next up, Dante. I don't know. I feel like Burning Abyss is kind of like Blackwings, dude. Like, they always see some play. There's always someone playing Burning Abyss. Always someone playing Blackwings. If they're going to put this card, it would probably not be banned. I would say maybe 1. But, like, looking at it, what is it in the OCG? It's at 1. So, I don't know. I could see that happening, too. It wouldn't be, like, a big surprise to me. Some people want Zenmaini. I can see it. And then over in 2018, they're getting Firewall Dragon to 1 in the OCG. I could definitely see it happening. There's too many decks that just like throw out like 3 Firewall Dragons over it. For our wild cards, guys, these are cards that like shouldn't be on the ban list, but they are. Well, I'm talking about they are actually banned, or they're, well, I guess Final Countdown's at 1, but these are cards that would surprise people. Again. Well, except for this one. I think this one can also be here. Like, there's so many cards that are literally towers. Why is tower still gone? I don't know. But anyways, next up, Final Countdown. This is what, again, these are like wild cards. If they put it to 3, people would freak out. And again, that's why I'm putting it in here. These are just like random stuff, kind of, in a sense. Next up, Blaster. Or any of the Dragon Rulers, to be honest. I mean, Dragon Rulers, people would freak out if they're like, oh, Dragon Rulers at 3, go! Dragon Rulers at 3, Baby Dragons are like, this would cause people to go crazy. And again, that's a wild card. You guys remember when Snatch Steal got unbanned? People were stacking up like 500 stacks. I saw people selling like, you know, buying like hundreds and hundreds of copies of Snatch Steal. And that was one of those cards that everyone was like, dude, why did they unban it? But they did it anyways. Well, that's what a wild card is. Dude, if they brought back all the Dragon Rulers to 1, I think people would freak out. Are the oh gosh, what is it? The babies are all legal, right? The Shreem, Dragon Ruler of Droplets. Okay, yeah, so they have multiple copies of all these. It would be crazy. It would be crazy. They're just like, either, I don't know if they would ban these, but just put these all to 3. And then just one of each of either one of these, or even more random. Okay, what do you guys think about this? If they're just like, you know, we'll just put 1 blaster, just 1 random blaster go, like, it'd be crazy too. But either way, rank 7s used to be like the strongest. Like Big Eye and Draco's, like, those were legendary, iconic cards for the Exceed days. Who's making those in 2017? No one really. Monster Reborn, again, another card people will flip out about. But it's kind of a card that goes on and off, and it's same thing with like Heavy Storm. Like these go on and off the ban list. Although Heavy Storm, I don't know if people, I think people would play Heavy Storm. I think it's a great card. But anyways, Monster Reborn, again, one of those wild cards. And again, it used to go like on the ban list and then off the ban list, and it would happen like consistently. And then now but it's been gone for too long. I mean, I think it's an iconic Yu-Gi-Oh card. Like this and like Pot of Greed, like most iconic Yu-Gi-Oh cards that were like meta, you know. Obviously Pot of Greed probably won't be coming back unless it gets an errata, but yeah. Next up, one of the best side deck cards in the game, Jin, Releaser of Rituals. definitely a card that I think a lot of people would be side decking. But the thing is that, like, dude, it's at triple in OCG, and to my knowledge, there's not any ritual decks that are really popping right now. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think that there's, like, I know Blue Eyes is kind of a thing, but other than Blue Eyes, is it really a deck? And is really Blue Eyes that big of a threat? I mean, you guys can let me know, but Jin is just a fantastic card. But especially in the side deck, I think a lot of decks, regardless of what you're playing, side decking, this is an excellent card. Next up, Evil Storm. They reprinted this card. Everyone thought this card was going to come back. It went shot up in price, and then they're like, psych, it's a prank. And that was pretty much it. But that is it for the live Banlist discussion. If you guys want to comment, let me know down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously down below in the comment section below. You know, what do you think of any of the cards that we talked about? Is there anything that I missed out that you guys would like to see banned, unbanned, semi-limited deal, all that stuff? But if you're watching this live, obviously you guys can have been, you know, talking about that. Zodiacs, I think it's too soon, guys. It's too soon for the Zodiacs to come back. Yeah, I think it's too soon. I think that waiting a couple formats, unless something else comes out that's going to support them, it wouldn't really make sense. Sometimes decks, like, they've had their time. If we go to, like, you know, limited, let's go to limited for, like, even like OCG, TCG. You'd be crazy if they put Exodia pieces out there. That'd be another, like, wild card. But, like, for example, like Dinosaurs, that's another deck that was just recently, like, it was popular. But I think things like Spiritual Beast, that could be a deck that, you know, it's been a while. It's been long enough. And Necros, I think it's been long enough to get these cards at multiple, and you know, see what people come up with. I'd be interested to see if any new decks emerge out of that. But lastly, so I guess Soul and Judgment, we can talk about it. I think it could be okay at one. I've never been a fan of this card because it's like no matter what, it's always good. Like, Solon will always be a good card. You can't really dead draw Solon unless Jinzo is out on the field. But who's playing Jinzo in 2017? But anyways. Thank you if you are watching this on YouTube, as well as everyone that came out on Twitch. I'm still streaming. But anyways, like I said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section below. But thanks for watching, and I am signing out on YouTube.